How's it going, everybody? I'm the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. There'll be none before me, there'll be none after me. Therefore, I am the one and only Jake Covey, and welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got a fun week this week. We got the news of the week, followed by your SmackDown review. Then we have a review of Survivor Series 2022, final pay-per-view of 2022. And then we have a review of the Raw following Survivor Series. We are then going to review the Royal Rumble 2000. That's right, it's going into one of my favorite Royal Rumbles ever. And then we have your drink of the week, followed by, I have found it, a reading from the Book of Rules. And then we have your Battle Droid of the week. But let's get into the news this week and let's start off with a maybe WrestleMania match. Is Austin Theory planting the seeds for a match with John Cena at WrestleMania 39? Well, apparently he said he was going to win the U.S. Championship, the United States Championship at Survivor. Theory said he was going to win the United States Championship at Survivor Series, becoming two-time United States champion because he is just that good. And he doesn't, and you think he gives a damn if John Cena is from there? He is apparently better than him, and he is going straight to the top. Those are Theory's words. So maybe we will see that match between him and John Cena. I'd actually like to see that at WrestleMania. I think that'd be fun. And has Kurt Angle think WWE made a superstar look idiotic? Apparently, yes, as he believes that Braun Strowman has been made to look like an idiot after Kurt Angle was laid out from the game. Apparently, this is what led to the match between Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey, and Strowman wasn't involved at all. He felt that it should have been Braun Strowman in the match, not Kurt Angle. So I could see that. I could see why Kurt Angle would have wanted that. I mean, it's kind of a rebirth of the feud between Kurt Angle and Triple H. But also, I would have actually liked to see Braun Strowman team with Ronda Rousey instead of Kurt Angle. You know, I felt that would have been better. And finally, is The Rock going to be available for the Royal Rumble? Apparently, there are no plans for WWE officials to have him there for the Royal Rumble, but many WWE officials believe The Rock will wrestle his last match at WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood against Roman Reigns. Here's what I hope for. I hope that they split the Universal Championship by then, and it's a WWE and Universal Championship at that point, because I really do not like Raw not having a world title. Just my opinion. Let's move on to SmackDown, the go-home show before Survivor Series. Bayley was in the ring with her War Games team, calling out Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair came out and introduced her fifth member. Who would it be? Would it be a returning Sasha Banks? Would it be Naomi? No, it would be the man, Becky Lynch. A man is on a Women's Survivor Series team, and it is the man, Becky Lynch. They charged the ring, had a really fun little brawl. Becky really brawling with Bayley. That was fun to see. I'm wondering if this is going to be Bayley's next big feud. That's what I imagine. After this, we get the semifinals, kind of the World Cup tournament to decide who will be the next challenger for the Intercontinental Championship. Santos Escobar versus Butch. This was a fun match. Santos Escobar was able to pick up the win with a little help from Miguel de Fantasma, but we're going to ignore that because this was still a fun match. Santos Escobar picks up the win and will move on to the finals. We then get Bray Wyatt coming out saying, everyone wants to see the Fiend. The Fiend. I'm not that monster anymore, guys. I don't want to be. That's why I did not attack LA Knight. Uncle Howdy then appeared on the Titantron and called Bray Wyatt a liar, and we actually saw footage from the Nexus in this. I actually like that. The Nexus showing up. Trying to think if there's anyone left from the Nexus besides Bray Wyatt. none could come to mind right now because David Otunga kind of isn't even with the company anymore. I don't know. I'm sure I'm missing someone. I'm sure there's someone in my head that I'm like, oh yeah, him. But right now, I don't see anyone. We then get LA Knight being interviewed backstage and says he doesn't believe Wyatt, and he then had a sling in his arm. After this, we get LA Knight being beaten down again in another mysterious attack. Who could it be? It's probably Bray Wyatt. We then get the Viking Raiders versus Hit Row. This was a fun match. It just goes to show, I don't know if Triple H has somehow soured on Hit Row, but they have lost almost every match since coming back to WWE. And we also got the reveal of Sarah Logan's new name. Her new name is Valhalla. So that's a really cool little name for Sarah Logan and the Viking Raiders to have. Valhalla is Sarah Logan's new name. I just wonder what they're going to do with her. I just hope she doesn't fade into obscurity again. We then get Ricochet versus Braun Strowman in a fun match. This was cool to see, but Ricochet was able to pick up the win after Imperium caused a distraction. Ricochet picks up the win, and it will be Santos Escobar versus Ricochet in the finals of the World Cup tournament. I'm actually excited for that match. That could be a really good, high-flying match. You then get Kevin Owens meeting Sami Zayn outside the Bloodline's locker room, trying to tell Sami, hey, turn on the Bloodline before they turn on you. This is what you need to do. Otherwise, the Bloodline is going to destroy you, and they will turn on you. Sami Zayn didn't even say a word. He just stood there and shook his head as Jey Uso asked him who he's spoken to since he's been in the arena. Sami Zayn said no one. Jey Uso didn't trust him and walked away. We then get Becky Lynch a little backstage interview segment where she says everybody wants to go to war until the man comes around. So I'm excited. It's made me excited for Survivor Series. I was very much looking forward to Survivor Series at this point. We then get Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey talking about who you brutalized Raquel Rodriguez backstage. They were talking about how they beat her down. And it was revealed that Raquel Rodriguez's elbow had been dislocated and her arm was broken. We then get a very cringy segment with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. And it was supposed to be a tag team match, but basically turned into nothing of the heels getting over on the faces. I really do not like Ronda Rousey. I haven't liked her since day one, and she hasn't gotten better on the mic. She hasn't done anything that really is making me go, yeah, she's worthwhile of having as your women's champion. She should just be a badass who doesn't go for the title. It's just like, I'm out here just to break people's arms. That's what that should be. I really don't like the way they're going with this. We then get Sheamus and Drew McIntyre versus the Usos for the advantage in the War Games match. Sami Zayn tried to interfere and throw the belt to Jey, but the referee saw it, kicked Sami out from ringside, and as the ref is dealing with Sami Zayn, he actually turns around. You have Jey turn around and get hit with a stunner by Kevin Owens. Sheamus then hits a brogue kick and picks up the win. The Brawling Brutes have the advantage for War Games. Yay! The main event didn't really make me more excited for the men's War Game match. The opening made me excited for Survivor Series, while this one I was just kind of like, eh. And I was going into it with a mixed bag of nuts, but I will admit, I enjoyed Survivor Series. I really did. I thought it was a fun pay-per-view, and here we go. There we go in the Survivor Series as it kicked off with the Women's War Game match. Now, this was a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. everyone just battling. It started off with Bianca Belair and Dakota Kai, and it just got better and better and better. Just fun. I really enjoyed this. You had moves that you expected from people, like you expected Io Sky to jump off top of the cage. I didn't expect a moonsault, but I expected a little from Io Sky. I expected Dakota Kai to really show off her knowledge of the cage, since she's been in the most War Games matches in women's history. I expected a lot from her, and she delivered. Bianca Belair was awesome. Rhea Ripley, amazing. Excuse me. Mia Yim really delivered. And then have Becky Lynch win the match by doing a leg drop onto the heels through a table and then cover them. Great match. Had fun with this one. But it did make you wonder why Bianca Belair wasn't pinning the heels and Becky Lynch was. Also, you kind of were getting a little hints of a little Miss Bliss heel turn. I've learned my lesson. She was really... Little Miss Bliss was really kind of not really celebrating with her team. You then get AJ Styles versus Finn Balor, and what could have been a show stealer, amazing match. AJ Styles and Finn Balor, of course, they turned up and showed up. There was no question these guys would have a great match, and to me, it really delivered. I know some people were more focused on the outside of Dominic and Damian Priest versus the Good Brothers of Gallows and Anderson, but I just tried to focus on the in-ring, and you know what? Focusing on the in-ring really helped me with this match of AJ Styles and Finn Balor just playing on an all-time classic, in my opinion. Great match, enjoyed that, fun, loved that. We then get to probably the down match of the night of the SmackDown Women's Championship match of Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi. There was no question Ronda Rousey was going to retain. It wasn't even a thought in my mind throughout the match. Like, they didn't have that moment where I'm like, oh, Shotzi might actually do this. Like I did with Liv Morgan. I wanted it to. I wanted Shotzi to have a moment. And I really like Shotzi. So I wanted her to have the moment, but it just never came. And that's what really sucked about this match. It just felt like Ronda decimated, and there was no question she was walking out with the title, which there shouldn't have been. But at the same time, I'm like, this just doesn't feel right to me for a good match. You know? Ronda Rousey retained, and I am not happy with this match. We then get your triple threat for the United States Championship of Bobby Lashley, champion Seth Rollins, and Austin Theory. This was a fun match. They really pulled out all the stops, hit everyone's finishers, which was cool to see, because in a triple threat match, you could do it and still protect the finisher. It ended with Bobby Lashley spearing Seth Rollins. Theory rolls into the ring and steals the pin for the win. Theory is your new United States champion. He's a 2-time United States champion. I get taking it off of Seth because I hope I'm right, and I hope they are putting a world title on him. So when Cody Rhodes comes back to the WWE, he could feud with Seth Rollins for the world title instead of it just being a meaningless feud. And the Royal Rumble winner doesn't have anything to go with. Or they have The Rock win the Royal Rumble, and it's just chaos because no one wants The Rock to win the Royal Rumble. They want people like Cody Rhodes, the new guys, to win the Royal Rumble. You know? So I really hope this is leaning towards Seth getting his world title and having a feud with Cody Rhodes. We then get the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes in a War Games match. I wasn't as excited for this one as the women's match, but I enjoyed this match because it really was a perfect storytelling of Jey Uso going in. You get Sheamus and Drew McIntyre going in, but then you have, as Jimmy's about to go in and help Jey, Roman just puts his hand in front of him and says, and looks over at Sammy and says, "You're going in." Sammy looks at him and says, "All right." Sammy runs in, tries to help Jey. They fight very well for a few minutes. Sammy actually saves Jay from a brogue kick, and everything looks good. And then Jimmy comes in, and Sammy's happy to see Jimmy. Everything's moving well. And then Jay is like, what are you looking at him for? Focus on the fight, dude. And Sammy's just like, hey, calm down, man. We're trying to work together here. And then you get Jay actually fighting with Sammy. And then the Brawling Brutes come in, the Bloodline comes in, Solo Sikoa, Roman Reigns. Everything's going crazy. You have that stare down moment of the 5-on-5 in the War Games. They fight each other off. Everything's going. Tables. People are going through tables, chairs, kendo sticks. Anything that can be used will be used in this match. And that was also something for me. I'm like, how they follow up the women's match. They had tables, they had chairs, they had trash cans, they had the kendo sticks. How do you follow that up? How do you follow up a ladder in the middle of the ring? People going through ladders. And I will admit, the men's war game delivered. It's something I've always wondered. So, and again, they completely delivered. So, I was very happy to see that. And we got a fun, really cool match through it, and Sami Zayn ends up hitting KO with a low blow. Excuse me. And then you have him just hit a haluva kick on KO, and they presents him as kind of a... I liked it. It was called an olive branch by Corey Graves. He called it an olive branch for Jey Uso. Jey Uso hits the splash. 1, 2, 3. The Bloodline pick up the win. And Survivor Series goes off with actually Jey Uso hugging Sami Zayn. A sight I never thought I would see. Fun. Enjoyed that. Awesome match. Awesome Survivor Series. If I had to give it a grade, A-. It doesn't get the A full grade because of the women's match, which was still a C. If I had to give it a grade, it would be a C or C+ for that match. But it was still very, very fun. Enjoyed this pay-per-view. I would recommend it for new fans trying to get into it and just see something cool and extreme. This is definitely your pay-per-view. It was extreme without being too extreme. So, let's move on to Raw, the post-Survivor Series edition of Raw. As Raw kicks off with Becky Lynch talking to her. She actually went into the crowd, was talking to the crowd. It was very fun. She got the crowd really involved, asking their names, getting people to chant the crowd members' names. I don't know if they were plants or anything, but that was fun. That was cool. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. And then you have Bayley coming out telling Becky to shut up, and no one cares about these stupid people's names. She then actually fights off all of Damage Control, which really kind of pissed me off, because I'm like, okay, so Becky's back, yay. And now it's the rest of the women's division trying to get on TV against Becky Lynch. I don't like that. I like Becky on TV, and I'll always say that I like her more of a heel than a face. And I know that is not everyone's opinion, but it is mine. It's the one I like. I like her as a heel. But, anyway. She fought off Damage Control, which I really did not like. Again, it looks overpowered. It's Superman versus the rest of the DC Universe. We then get Dexter Lumis versus The Miz announced to be a anything goes match. And if Lumis wins, he will get a WWE contract and the money The Miz owes him. We then get Mia Yim versus Rhea Ripley. Very fun match. Enjoyed this match, but I hated how it ended. Dominic Mysterio gets involved, costing Rhea the match, but it was kind of the plan the whole time, because then the OC comes out, and Judgment Day comes out, and they're finally going to have the big 4-on-4 match in the first hour of Raw. Okay. I didn't expect the blow off to this feud to be on Raw. Corey Graves did say he expects more from this feud, but I don't see, okay, Judgment Day 1, Rhea Ripley pinned Mia Yim. What's the point? Why go on? Judgment Day 1. I don't know. We then get the Bloodline coming out, celebrating their War Games match. Sami Zayn thanked Jimmy for having his back for 6 months, and he also thanked Jay for finally accepting him at Survivor Series. They had a big hug. They actually looked at Solo like, come on, Solo, give him a hug, give him a hug. Solo looked like he was about to turn and give him a hug. But then we get Kevin Owens coming out, calling out Sami Zayn, saying it was nothing to do with him anymore. And you then get Jey Uso saying, hey, if you got a problem with Sami, now you got a problem with main event Jey Uso. You earned my respect, man. So you know what? You got a problem with me too now. It was made official. It would be Owens versus Jay for a match later on tonight. And it was funny watching because they actually had his hand wrapped up. I knew in Survivor Series, if you watch Survivor Series, you'll see Jay favoring his right hand more than his left, I believe. And I'm watching it the whole time. I'm just watching and go, Jay broke his hand. Jay really broke his hand. He's not selling a fake injury. This is real. He broke his fucking hand. I knew it the second it happened and I felt so bad. I'm like, fuck. Why? Why now? But you know what? Jay is working through it. And I'm actually very happy about that. I'm very happy that Jay is working through his injury. It was then announced that Elias and Matt Riddle are officially a tag team, and they will challenge for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles next week on Raw. We then get the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy in their return match to Raw. Very exciting, very fun. We have the Street Profits pick up the win. There was no question. I like that Otis, he's growing back his beard. He looked way better with the beard and the long hair than he ever did with the short hair and no beard. He has no chin. That's his problem. And if you have something like that, you need a beard. Trust me. I know people like that who don't have an upper lip or anything, and they shave off their mustache. I'm like, why did you do that? You need that mustache, dude. So, I completely agree that he looks way better with a beard. Street Profits pick up the win in a fun match. We then get United States Champion Austin Theory coming out, talking about how it's his time and he's no longer a kid. Seth Rollins then comes out, and as Theory goes to say something, Seth Rollins puts his hand on the mic and just goes, let him sing. And they start saying his music. It's all fun. Everyone's singing. Great, great moment. And he calls Theory a kid. I don't know if he's still going to be going for a United States Championship. Again, I hope that's what the Elimination Chamber is for, to crown a new world champion. It's Seth Rollins, and there you go. There's how Cody Rhodes challenges for the match at WrestleMania. We then get The Miz trying to sell a fake injury to his hand. And Pierce came out and just called The Miz a liar, said, go out and compete. And The Miz said, you'll be hearing from my lawyers. And Adam Pierce is like, I welcome it. I completely welcome hearing from your lawyers, Miz. We then get Dexter Lumis versus The Miz in an anything goes match. Miz getting thrown into a TV. A fucking vice being put on Dexter Lumis' head. Unbelievable. Fucking amazing. When they showed that, I literally went, you know what? Fuck whoever calls this fake, man. That's gotta hurt. That's gotta hurt. I put my finger in one just to see how it would feel like when I was a kid, when I was a stupid kid. But, yeah, that hurt. So I can't imagine it around your head. Lumis then puts Miz through a table, locks in his choke, and The Miz taps out. He then takes the Miz's money, starts giving out. Dexter Lumis has won a contract, and he is now a full WWF superstar. The Miz tried to attack him and take the money back, but Johnny Gargano came out, gave the money back to the fans, and it was a great moment. We then get Candice LeRae versus Dakota Kai. This was Candice LeRae's first match back from injury, so very fun to see her back in WWE. She was able to pick up the win over Dakota Kai. I was hoping that Damage Control would stay out there for one thing only, because here's why. Indy Hartwell posted on Twitter of, hey, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been supportive of me in NXT. So I just wrote on Twitter, see you on Mondays, because I figured that's what was going to happen. We then get a backstage segment with Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Little Miss Bliss talking to Kathy Kelly. And Little Miss Bliss apparently seemed distracted, and people caught it on Twitter. I didn't catch it on TV, but they caught it on Twitter. You had the Bray Wyatt logo appear in the background. I guess we are going to see Bray Wyatt and Little Miss Bliss back together again. I really do hope that happens, because I was the one guy who actually liked them together. So you know what? I'm not angry if they were to be partnered up again. In your main event, we get Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso. This was a fun match. Kevin Owens just refused to stay down. Unbelievable match. Really enjoyed this. So you know what? I'm not getting anything out. Just talking about it. Go watch it. I'm sure they're going to post it on YouTube. This was such a fun match. Really enjoyed it. Unbelievable. Great match. Fun. Great main event. Kevin Owens picks up the win over Jey Uso. Go watch it. That's all I'm going to say. Great Raw after Survivor Series. Really enjoyed this Raw. Really enjoyed Survivor Series. Kind of enjoyed SmackDown. Good week for WWE so far. Now let's go on my favorite pay-per-views of all time. Definitely one of my favorite Royal Rumbles. 2000. This is a fun pay-per-view. Really showcased the talent they had besides Stone Cold Steve Austin, because it was supposed to be Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania once again, but Stone Cold Steve Austin had the neck injury, and it was revealed later on that Eddie Guerrero was supposed to be a part of the main event of WrestleMania, but then he dislocated his elbow. So this was the pay-per-view that really showed off Triple H versus Mankind. Mankind performing in the arena. He would hitchhike to Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call it. This was just fun. This was a fun pay-per-view. It started off with Taz making his WWE debut, beating Kurt Angle by technical submission in 3 minutes. Fun way to debut him. Awesome to see. And then we get the Hardys versus the Dudley Boys in an awesome tables match. The tables match actually ended very early on with 10 minutes, but they really brought for time. Fun to see. It was just the Hardy Boys doing everything they can to show how extreme, and the Dudley Boys showing how extreme they were. That's why they worked so well together, just because these guys were willing to put their bodies on the line. So if you're looking for a fun tables match to watch this. We then get Chris Jericho versus Chyna and Hardcore Holly for the undisputed WWF Intercontinental Championship. Chris Jericho would pick up the win here. Nothing that I'm really like, oh my god, for this match about. I know people actually really do like this match, but I'm not a fan of it. Still a fun match, though. Still fun. Chris Jericho picks up the win over China and Hardcore Holly. We then get the New Age Outlaws versus the Acolytes, defending their championships against the Acolytes in a tag team championship match. So, the New Age Outlaws actually made quick work of the Acolytes. This was before they formed the APA, and it was after kind of the destruction of the corporate ministry. So the Acolytes were kind of just fading into obscurity, and then they come up with the APA, but this was definitely before that. We then get your match of the night. It should have been a main event. Of course, the Royal Rumble's going to main event the Royal Rumble, but this should have been your main event of the night. Triple H versus Cactus Jack in a 26-minute street fight. Again, from Madison Square Garden, there's nothing better. They made the stage look like a street. It was fun. And Triple H has gone on to say this is one of his favorite feuds. This is his favorite feud ever. And he believes Mankind, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, Dude Love made him into the superstar that he was and is to this day. And this match really made him a legend. So you know what? I completely agree. The build up to this match and them firing Mick Foley and then hiring him back because Raw threatened to walk out. And you had Triple H challenge Mick Foley to a street fight, basically. And Mankind says as he felt the water draft over his head in the shower and saw the blood, he said there's one thing Mankind isn't, and that's ready to face you in a street fight. But there's someone who is, and then he takes off his shirt and realizes, you see Triple H realizes Cactus Jack, and you see his face actually he's scared. He is actually scared for this moment. That's, Mick Foley actually said, if he just laughed off like, hey, you're just the same guy in a different shirt, this would have been dead in the water, and this match would have been as good as it was, but the way he reacted was perfect. So, Triple H defending his title here, they're doing everything they can. Backs on the trash cans. Mick Foley does say the one thing he regrets from this match is suplexing Triple H onto that broken pallet. Triple H then said he's looked down and saw a sliver just sticking out of his leg, and he pulled it out, and he didn't realize how deep it went. And he says, apparently Triple H doesn't drink, doesn't do anything. He is sober as a judge. So he goes, the only drug I've ever messed with is adrenaline. And adrenaline's one hell of a drug. There would be flaming barbed wire, thumbtacks, and there is one point after Triple H is busted open, Mick Foley nails him to the outside, and he looks up in the front row. Triple H, blood coming down his face, looks up in the front row. And who does he see as he's face to face with? His mom. He's face to face with his mom, who's just blubbering. I love that story. That story is amazing to me. And you really got all the aspects. The Rock coming out, trying to beat down Triple H as well. Helping Mick Foley, his old enemy, old tag team partner, when they went against, when they fought each other, to when they teamed up with each other, had the Rock and Sock connection. This is just fun for me. This match is just awesome, and I love Mick Foley's line. I'm getting a lot of this from the WWE Untold series. If you have not watched it, go watch it. It really tells an amazing story about Mick Foley and Triple H. And there's one line that I love. It was when Triple H pedigreed Mick Foley and he kicked out. He's like, how we top that? How do you kick out of the pedigree? And Vince McMahon completely denied this spot. He said, don't do it. Don't you even think about doing it. And Triple H and Mick Foley basically said, let's take the heat. This is going to be cool. So Triple H goes to pedigree Mick Foley into the thumbtacks. And all you hear, and Mick Foley apparently said, I just closed my eye real tight and thought I could lose an eye. But think of the pop. I love that. That was fun. and he pits Mick Foley, and this was apparently alluded to be Mick Foley's last match, and then they had the Hell in a Cell match where it is decided, okay, this is Mick Foley's last match. He then comes back for WrestleMania, which kind of really diminishes this match a bit, but it still shows how powerful this match is. Mick Foley, King of the Death match, and Triple H just willing to do whatever Mick Foley wanted. And again, I actually like this because Triple H would reveal that later on you see him limping a lot, not just because of the spike in his leg, but also because his boot weighed about 5 pounds more because it was just soaked in blood. He pulled it off, and apparently blood was just dripping out of the boot. So, if you're looking for actually a fun, hardcore match, this is definitely it. And we haven't even gotten to the main event yet, and I felt this should have been the main event. The main event was The Rock winning the Royal Rumble. By the way, The Rock didn't win the Royal Rumble, Big Show did. They showed his feet hitting the ground. Big Show's feet did not hit the ground first, The Rock's did. And I love this Royal Rumble. It's a fun Royal Rumble. It actually has a lot of great people in it. Number 30 would actually be X-Pac. The Rock would enter at number 24, and then you have the Big Show at number 26. So even though it was the Rock winning, they would actually say the Big Show would win it, and you would have the Big Show, Rock, Mick Foley, and Triple H in a McMahon in Four Corners match at WrestleMania 16, which is funny. It's called WrestleMania 2000. It's not even, they don't even make reference to it's the 16th WrestleMania. But this is definitely a really fun Royal Rumble, and it did lead to one of my favorite moments of all time of The Rock when he came back to Raw. I think it was in like 2016 or something. He comes out and he sees the Big Show typing on a laptop, and he goes, "You remember the Royal Rumble 2000 Madison Square Garden? 1-on-1?" And Big Show goes, "Yeah, I remember that. I actually won that. Your feet hit first." And you see The Rock go, "Want to know a funny thing? I agree!" And it was funny because the guy who was directing The Mummy 2 watched the Royal Rumble and said, "Whoever wins this Royal Rumble, I'm casting as the Scorpion King in The Mummy 2. So it could have been you chasing Brendan Fraser around in cars. Could have been you doing all this, living the big life. But hey, so is life." And you see the Big Show go, "Yeah, so is life." And he breaks his laptop in half and goes, "I love that about you." And he just gives the Big Show a pat on the back and goes, "Hey, you alright." And walks away and does some other stuff. But that's still one of my favorite moments in WWE history, comedic-wise, of that moment. Great show. If I had to give it a grade, this is an A show at very least. The street fight is enough to vault the show into an A+ territory. Fun Royal Rumble, fun kickoff, amazing tag team match, a cool Intercontinental Championship match, not one I'm great on, but still a fun match. Tag team match, but the rest of the show, unbelievably done by WWE. I want to point out that this show was sponsored by 1-800-COLLECT. To those of you who listening who are under 20, you'll never know what Collect is. Google it. But that is your Royal Rumble review, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to your drink of the week. The God of War Deception Bomb. I'm actually featuring a lot of drinks this coming up in these episodes for Crown Royal because we have the Royal Rumble. The God of War Deception Bomb. I want to point out this is a bomb and a very hard drink. You do not drink more than one of these. If you do, pray. That's all I can say. Pray to the gods. 1 ounce cinnamon whiskey. 1/4 ounce grenadine. 1 ounce Crown Royal. 3 ounces Red Bull. 1/2 ounce blue curacao. 1 ounce cream de menthe. 2 ounces of lemon lime soda. 2 ounces of 151 proof rum. 2 ounces raspberry schnapps, and 3 ounces of grape juice. You pour the cinnamon whiskey and the grenadine into one shot, and the Crown Royal into another shot glass. Pour the Red Bull into a giant shot glass, into a giant glass, and then balance the 2 shot glass into the mouth of the giant glass. And then in a separate glass, the same size, you pour the blue curacao, the cream de mint, and the lemon lime soda in. And in a pitcher, you combined the Bacardi 151, the raspberry schnapps, and the grape juice. You serve the 2 glasses in the mouth of the pitcher. Take 1 shot out, pull it out. Another shot will fall. Drink that. Let the glass fall into the pitcher. And then you have your bomb. Drink responsibly. Don't drink more than 1 of these. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink if you are under 21 in the United States of America or wherever the legal drinking age is and wherever you live. And finally, do not overindulge on alcohol. It can cause serious health risks. And that is your drink of the week, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, a reading from the Book of Rules. On the subject of beards. Beards are allowed provided they are well kept, and do not exhibit rather than 3 inches below the ankle. A reading for the Book of Rules. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the Battle Droid of the Week. This Battle Droid of the Week is simple for me. It's who almost ruined SmackDown, who tried to ruin Survivor Series, and who, thank God, was on Raw. Ronda Rousey, ladies and gentlemen. Ronda Rousey has really brought the WWE talent downhill. I really hate to say that. I wish she could be successful, but she can't. It just sucks. This is why they need a powerhouse in the SmackDown Women's Division. They need someone else besides Ronda Rousey. Please, dear God, when Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Charlotte Flair come back, let them go to SmackDown. Please. Please. Because you almost destroyed one of the best pay-per-views of the year. Ronda, you are the Battle Droid of the Week. Here's another award for your case.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. I have been the Big Guy. We are in Royal Rumble season, which means we are officially on the road to WrestleMania. I will see you guys in LA. Let's begin the travels.